In spite of the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdowns that followed, Uganda's economy still managed to grow by 4.6% by the end of financial year 2021-2022 from 3.5% the previous year. This performance is a testimony of the strong foundations and social transformation that have enabled a resilient recovery of the economy. As the result of the strong fundamentals, manufacturing, one of the pillars, has attained significant diversification into many new products. It has also recorded surplus in sugar, processed milk, cement, steel bars, as well as soap and beer, among others. In spite of the lockdown, the sector has grown by 4.2% from 3.4% registered in the 2020-2021 financial year. Uganda's products continue to cement their footprint in the markets within the African continent.
There is a macroeconomic stability. Our economic policies remain sound. This is supported by international sovereign ratings by Standard & Poor's and Fitch, which have not changed despite the challenges we are facing.
The key economic pillars that have transformed Uganda into a dynamic economy include macroeconomic stability and low inflation in a free market economy. Real economic growth since 1986 averaging 6.1%. The GDP rapidly expanded from $3.9 billion Uganda shillings 14.4 trillion today in 1986 to 162.1 trillion shillings in 2022. Domestic revenue collection grew from 5 billion shillings in 1986 to 22.425 trillion shillings in 2021. Total export receipts of goods and services grew more than tenfold from $502 million in 1986 to $5.74 billion in financial year 2021-2022. This performance is attributed to the reforms by the NRM government when it came into power in 1986. To be able to tackle these huge challenges, the NRM government first ensured that peace and security of person and property was prevailing throughout the country. It also put in place and strengthened the rule of law, a crucial ingredient in building investor confidence in the country. In 1987, the government embarked on the Economic Recovery Program, the blueprint to address these pressing demands.
Elimination of price controls. This eliminated the shortages of goods and the services and provide the right incentives to produce for the market. Price controls have resulted into emergence of black markets, what we used to call magendo, involving hoarding of basic groceries and other essential commodities. Beer, you look for it and you can't get it. So people would go to the breweries, buy or whatever the little they have, they bring it and put it under the bed. So when you come enter the bar, they will say, yeah, there's some little drink here, but you have to pay this price. And then you will see somebody pulling a crate and a table and a bed. That's how it became to be called Kitana beer.
Serious measures were also quickly undertaken to stem the runaway inflation rate, which was at 240% when the NRM came into power in 1986. The government introduced the cash budget based on the funds that were available at hand.
I really want to appreciate the role of our fallen governor, the late Professor Tumsime Mutebile, for the role that he did in lowering inflation. Right from the time he was in the Ministry of Finance as a PSST, where he brought in the aspect of a cash budget. The introduction of that cash budget and then later on a cash flow really contributed significantly to the lowering of inflation.
In 1991, government revenue and tax collections were reformed with the creation of the Uganda Revenue Authority, URA. At the establishment of URA, tax collection was just 6.83% of GDP, a mere 180 billion shillings per annum. Today, the Uganda Revenue Authority is a modern revenue collection body driven by technology and innovation. This has helped ease the process of paying taxes.
One of the things that we've put in place to expand the tax base has been to make our processes, the revenue administration processes as simple and as accessible as possible. For example, there is what they call the TIN. TIN in full is tax identification number. You can get your TIN within minutes or within seconds. As soon as you finish typing in your data, you get an instant TIN if you are an individual. If it is for a company, there's a little bit of a process, so you must submit the company registration details and so on, but that also can be concluded within a day.
In 1991, the government transformed the economy from one that was predominantly driven by public expenditure into one that was premised on private sector-led growth. The Uganda Investment Authority was established to superintend and put in place incentives for investments. Today, as the result of these reforms and subsequent measures and policies, the Uganda economy has grown 10 times the size it was in 1986. The economy is also vastly diversified in terms of domestic production and exports, which has helped to increase incomes and bring more people out of poverty. As the country gets set for the 2022-2023 financial year, Uganda's economy is poised for the journey of further transformation. This is the drive towards self-sufficiency and sustainability. The transformation is being pushed through the National Development Plan. Now in its third phase, it is the vehicle by which Uganda's Vision 2040 is being implemented. The National Development Plan is also pursuing a redistributive approach. Resources are now allocated according to key programs rather than through sectors as were the case in the past. This puts where they will have a maximum impact and reduce wastage at the same time.
Under the program-based approach to planning and budgeting, we are going to be sitting in one room to say we want to do agro-industrialization. The role of Ministry of Agriculture is to do research and also to provide the technical know-how of extension workers and other things which are done in agriculture. Then you, Ministry of Water, for example, you are going to supply the water for production by building irrigation schemes. The Ministry of Trade and Industry, you are going to facilitate value addition. And the other Ministry of Finance, you are going to provide money for people to purchase the inputs. That is going to help in coordinating effort. And as a result, resources will never be now duplicated. And that duplication has been leading to a lot of waste.
When the NRM came to power in 1986, President Museveni promised an independent and self-sustaining economy. This strategy has enabled the government to put in place incentives, programs and policies that have contributed to the growth of the production capacities of the country. The plan for the modernization of agriculture, which was launched in 2000, was a key strategy of poverty eradication. It focused on transforming Uganda from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture and is responsible for progressive improvements in agricultural production and productivity. Today, as the result, agriculture is one of the key sources of raw materials that continue to power and sustain our industries and manufacturing. The key focus is the development of value chains, right from the farms through agro-processing and value addition in manufacturing and marketing. It has as well strongly championed import substitution in order to save value foreign exchange for key social services to the population. For instance, the support to oilseed farmers and the introduction of palm oil farming in Kalangala and other parts of the country has reduced Uganda's imports of oil and soap. The government continues to support expansion of palm oil growing in order to make the country fully self-sufficient in vegetable oil production. The government continues to address the issue of livelihoods. Today, this is being driven by the Parish Development Model, together with the Youth Livelihood Fund and Emyoga. The target is to deliver the 39% of households still engaged in subsistence farming into the money economy. To ensure this, the budget for the financial year 2022-2023 is dedicated to addressing this mission. By 1986, Uganda was a net import of bare necessities like sugar and milk and chicken products. Today, Uganda is a regional supplier with huge ambitions to export to the rest of Africa and beyond. Furthermore, Agricultural exports have been diversified to include previously newly promoted export products like fish, flowers, milk and chicken products. These have helped increase export revenue earnings. Due to improved production and productivity, earnings from traditional commodities like coffee, the leading agricultural export, and the country $559 million in the financial year 2020-2022. Additionally, production grew from 4.6 million bags in 2015-16 to 8.1 million bags in 2020-2021. In the same period, dairy products earned $204.5 million, with production growing from 2.1 billion in 2019-2020 to 2.6 billion litres in 2020-2021. Tea exports earned the country $71 million. From $121 million, earnings from fish exports grew to $227 million in 2020, while fish catch grew from 449,000 tons to 600,000 tons. Today, the industrial sector continues to play a big role in the economy. Contribution to the economy continues to grow from 26% in 2016-2017 to 27.4% in 2021-2022. To further expand the sector, 25 industrial parks have been opened up across the country. Tourism was a leading foreign exchange earner for Uganda in 2019, but due to COVID-19 and the global travel restrictions, the number came down from 1.5 million tourists recorded, though the sector is undergoing a slow recovery. In 2021, tourist numbers once again started to go up, rising from 473,085 in 2020 to over 500,000 now. Tourism revenues also recovered from $440 million to $530 million recorded in 2021.
There has been a lot of planning and preparation to get Uganda known out there, but also domestically, we have been creating awareness to educate Ugandans, get them to know what we actually have in offer, and not only from the leisure point of view, but also from the business point of view and also investment.
Foreign direct investments grew from $1.1 billion in 2018 to $1.3 billion in 2019. Domestic investments, on the other hand, increased by 13% from $385.3 million to $433.8 million in the same period. Efforts to empower the youth and women in order to increase employment continue to yield results. Under the Youth Livelihoods Program, 247,700 youth have been financed with 165 billion shillings to implement 21,000 projects. 166,300 women under 13,800 groups have also been supported under similar arrangements. By March 2022, seed capital amounting to 248.1 billion shillings had been disbursed to 6,634 Emyoga circles. In the 1990s and 2000s, it was clear that the gains from economic reforms would not fully be realized unless the infrastructural bottlenecks and insufficient power was addressed. In 1986, the total length of Uganda's bitumen roads was a paltry 1,175 km. By the end of 2022, the stock of paved roads in the country shall have reached 6,000 km. Not only that, the road network is being modernized with flyovers and wider dual carriageways to cope with the heavy traffic and volume of vehicles. Today, the network of all-weather bitumen roads connects all the corners of the country, thus improving the flow of trade, goods and services, reducing the time on the road. In the urban areas, municipal infrastructure which had collapsed due to neglect and old age had been upgraded into modern urban roads with all their amenities. Where there are no direct road connections, the government has invested in modern ferry services to islands such as Buvuma and Sigulu, among others. Entebbe Airport has been expanded and modernized with new facilities. A new cargo handling area and new export-free zone are in advanced stages of development. The recently revived national air carrier, Uganda Airlines, continues to flourish and has now increased its international destinations to include London and China. Kabale, the second international airport, is nearing completion to service the oil sector in the Albertine region of Uganda. The 1-meter gauge railway line that connects Kenya with Uganda is being rehabilitated to carry bulk goods across the country. Telecommunications infrastructure continues to be upgraded. The entire country is now virtually covered by telephone and internet signals, which have enabled real-time transactions to take place, thereby reducing the cost and time of doing business and trade. Over a decade ago, power shortages and outages were the order of the day in Uganda. Today, as a result of major investments, Uganda's electricity generation capacity is now 1,357 megawatts, having increased several times from just 60 megawatts in 1986. More power is expected soon, with the 600 megawatt Karuma Power Dam nearing commissioning. The availability of reliable power has attracted major industries into the country like steel and cement manufacturing. In terms of human capital development needed for a modern self-sustaining economy, provision of education, health and safe water to the population are top of the NRM government's agenda. All children of school-going age are now guaranteed free primary education. The government is also on course to attaining universal secondary education. 181 new seed secondary and community secondary schools have been completed at sub-county level. Young out-of-school Ugandans have access to skilling programs, which are offered at numerous vocational and technical colleges which have been built across the country. At the higher level, there are now 10 publicly funded universities in Uganda offering various courses and skills, complemented by 42 privately funded universities. Access to a health facility within a 5-kilometer radius now stands at 91%. 81% of the health center fours offer cesarean births, while 51% also offer blood transfusion. District and regional hospitals are being upgraded and renovated to modern standards. The National Referral Hospital has been upgraded and now provides much-needed specialized services like cancer and heart treatment that initially required travel abroad. A hospital dedicated to women and maternal health has also been built at Mulago. An ultra-modern pediatric hospital has also been completed and is now operational in Entebbe. All national and regional referral hospitals in the country each now have intensive care unit beds and an oxygen production plant. Throughout the country, great effort has been undertaken to provide clean, safe water to the population. Safe water coverage in rural areas is now at 68%. In urban areas, safe water coverage is at 71% of the population. The strategy of the NRM government is to attain faster and inclusive growth as well as enhanced socio-economic development. One of the keys to this is unlocking the potential of agriculture through aggressive industrialization. The agro-industrialization program is addressing low production and productivity. It is also addressing poor post-harvest handling practices that lead to great loss by the farmer. Above all, it is addressing limited value addition in the agriculture sector by increasing capacity for agro-processing and marketing. Farmers are also being oriented towards better food safety handling requirements and standards for the export markets. Additionally, the Agriculture Value Chain Development Project is being piloted in northern and eastern Uganda to further enhance all aspects of agro-processing and value addition. Processing and modern storage facilities are being provided to farming communities. The parish development model is a key vehicle of furthering the economy to be more financially inclusive. Through this approach, income-generating opportunities are on course to be generated directly at the 10,594 parishes in the country. This will address production, processing, value addition and marketing, infrastructure and economic services such as extension services, energy, roads, market structures, and water for production. The other pillars of the parish development model include social service delivery, re-establishment of the community information system, governance and administration, as well as mindset change. The resulting value chains and agro-processing have also greatly helped the economy to pick up despite the effects of the 2 COVID-19 related lockdowns that shut down the economy. Financial technology solutions and applications are also being harnessed and promoted to increase inclusion into the money economy.
If you look at now the number of people who are still, or the percentage of the people who are still in subsistence economy is about 39%. Also, as a central bank, we are playing a role in terms of increasing financial inclusion, because financial inclusion is key in lowering the number of people who are in subsistence. You have these telecom companies that have the mobile money. So if you are able to increase the savings and you are able to begin extending credit at a micro level, you are increasing the productivity of the people at the bottom of the pyramid.
Science, technology and innovation are critical to Uganda's development, and the NRM government sees them as fundamental in transforming the economy. As such, the government is deliberately developing and motivating a cadre of science professionals, as well as science teachers, and enhancing their pay and emoluments.
We were able to realize 1.7 trillion shillings. We have been able to enhance the scientists, health workers, other scientists, as well as science teachers, at a tune of nearly $500 billion shillings.
This has led to increased research and development in various areas and fields. The development of locally designed Kira motors and other industrial innovations are some of the outcomes. Ugandan designed buses are now rolling off the assembly lines, with the potential to supply not only the national needs, but also the needs of the neighboring countries. This innovative way of thinking and the need for self-sufficiency has also sparked off COVID-related research. Government immediately funded the setting up of the Presidential Scientific Initiative for Epidemics in response to COVID-19 pandemic. A mechanism was quickly developed for the testing and approval of herbal cures for respiratory diseases.
The government set up a special entity which was known as Presidential Scientific Initiative for Epidemics, and mapped out clusters of scientists to do some work. So we were selected to be part of the therapeutic research. For the last 2 years, we pride in the fact that we've been able to successfully formulate a herbal product that's been notified by National Drug Authority and taken through a clinical trial in Mulago National Referral Hospital, and the trial has been concluded.
One of the herbal cures that benefited from an infusion of government support was the approval of Covidex as an emerging relief against the pandemic.
At that time, there was a call by government that scientists should come up with solutions. So I was also contacted to apply for a grant to test whatever we could have. So at that time, we had planned to test 3 formulas of mine. One is Covidex. 2 is Genacov, which we have here, Genacov. And then the third one is a drug called Artemiune. It's to boost immunity. So together with my friends in Bara University, we submitted a research proposal to Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation for government to give us funding to test these formulas we had to see if one of them could help in COVID.
Government also funded the development of a master protocol to speed up the testing and approval of available but untested cures for respiratory illnesses like the coronavirus.
We came up with an idea of creating a master protocol, which is written. It describes all the stages, and people who innovate these products, all they have to do is to bring their product. Then we try it and then give them the results. The way currently we have designed it for acute respiratory illnesses, it can evaluate 3 products at a time.
Uganda is now on the threshold of pumping oil after years of exploration and development. With over 3.5 billion barrels of recoverable crude oil, Uganda will soon be one of the big suppliers in Africa and is poised for fast oil by 2025. Additionally, the entire country is being surveyed and mapped in order to establish mineral potential for gold, iron, uranium, and rare earths, among others. After the economy was reopened, The NRM government is now focused on implementing post-COVID-19 recovery measures and interventions in order to put the economy back on track.
The first one is the recovery of the economy from the pandemic. That's the first priority we have, to support the households and businesses to recover. The second priority is the socio-economic transformation of Uganda, by ensuring that we integrate as many people of Uganda as possible in the money economy. And this brought in now the famous parish development model. So it's a priority. Also human capital development, because it's the only way we invest in people. Education and health care is a key priority of government.
Among the measures is the Small Business Recovery Fund, which has availed over 200 billion shillings for lending to businesses that qualify. The Uganda Development Bank has been capitalized with over 500 billion shillings in 2021-2022 for lending to medium and large enterprises. This is in addition to interventions under the Uganda Development Corporation. Indeed, while the lockdowns may have affected the population, the country has been quick to get back to its feet and near normalcy as a result of the foundations that have been laid in the last 35 years.
The positive outlook is driven by the following. 1, the manufacturing sector. 2, full reopening of the economy. 3, increased production and productivity in agriculture. 4, the continued government investment in infrastructure such as energy, roads, industrial parks, growth in ICT sector, and oil production related activities.
To our dear taxpayers, first of all, I want to thank you for the great resilience and sacrifice that you have made to contribute your taxes towards the building of our nation. In spite businesses going through very difficult times for the last 2 years, you've shown a lot of resilience and commitment.
This notwithstanding the latest challenges brought by high oil and energy prices around the globe, there is every hope that the resilient and robust structures in place will enable Uganda to get back on its development trajectory.
What Ugandans need to do is, first of all, to have a positive mindset towards their government and the economy. Let them follow this budget. Let them understand where government is moving in terms of policy, because that's where resources are. Usually they say follow the money, follow the government money, where it is going. We have put in place a budget strategy to support people to recover. We are not raising taxes and we are not putting in new taxes.